What's up, guys? Just here by my channel. Tonight, I'll be doing a review for Monday Night Raw, which I should have done earlier during late in the afternoon and stuff. So around my time, it started at 2 o'clock through past around like 4:35, around 4:35 to finish and stuff. So I was gonna do it, but man, I got so tired afterwards. I'm not complaining about it, but I was man. So I just wanted to do it late and stuff. So anyways, let's get to it then. We have a segment with Roman Reigns. As promised, Roman Reigns opens Raw and makes his way out in Birmingham. Reigns wants to get rid of business, but first has to be acknowledged. Reigns says he has big plans for tonight and for the future. Reigns says there's something he needs to acknowledge to move forward. Reigns says he's not the same guy he used to be, but he can. He says Cody Rhodes predicted it a year and a half ago, and Seth Rollins and his team followed through on what Rhodes said. They took everything from Reigns. Reigns says he no longer has a bloodline and says he is proud of Jey Uso's success and says his time will come. But back to what he lost. He lost his bloodline, his wise men, and championships, so they had to find something else to take from him. He then addresses Bronson Reed, and before he can get a word, Paul Heyman uh, comes out with Bronson Reed. Heyman introduces the tribal thief, the owner of the Shula Fala. Um, the show found Bronson Reed. Heyman says that Reed pointed out to him that excuse me, that 5 years ago, Heyman became Reigns' wise man. He says for 5 years they owned everything and created a bloodline, and they changed the entire industry together. And now Reigns is standing all alone in the ring by himself. Heyman tells Reigns he misses him and tells him he loves him now, and this is why he's out here to disrespect Reigns. Heyman tries to get the crowd to chant Bronson Reed's name, but fails. Heyman says he's not here to disrespect Reigns due to malice, but it's because he loves him. He needs tough love. Heyman says he wishes he was man enough to beat this tough love into Reigns, and while he isn't tough enough, Bronson Reed is. Reigns says he'll kick Reed's ass at Clash in Paris, and Heyman will be kissing Reigns' ass. Reed gets on the mic and tells Reigns it's time for him to get a less history lesson. Reed says his tribal tattoos are earned, whereas Reigns' are paid for. Reed says he is a savage Samoan and not civilized like Reigns, and his bloodline where Reigns says he's the tribal chief, and if Reed is Samoan, Reed belongs to him. He tells Reed to come in the ring and return his shoes and acknowledge him. Reed says if he comes down to the ring, he'll make Reigns acknowledge his tribal thief. Reigns says he'll come to Reed, then runs out of the ring, and the two start fighting in the right way. Reed knocks Reigns into the ring post, and they both get in the ring and trade punches. Security and officials come down and break them up. Reed beats the officials and splashes onto Reigns. Reed tries to steal Reigns' shoes, then sentons onto Reigns, and Reed goes for a tsunami, but Reigns super punches Reed off the top rope. Reigns runs around the ring and jumps onto Reed, and some security. Reigns and Reed fight up the entryway and into the back. Alright, so JJ Madonna walked backstage and saw Rey Mysterio talk to El Grande. Says everything's under control, so blah blah. And then, alright, that would get to the first match. Dragon Lee versus JD Madonna with Finn Balor. Lee chops on Madonna in the corner, and then both tree blows. Lee hits a screw on Lee hits a strand screw on Madonna and kicks him in the corner. Madonna gets Lee on the mat and distracts the ref, and Balor tries to interfere and is ejected. Madonna goes out to talk to Balor, and Lee suicide dives out onto him back in the ring. Lee goes to hit a crossbody, but Madonna is too quick, and Lee drop kicks Lee mid air, and then we go to commercial break and stupid thing. Yeah, then we go to commercial break. Alright, we return for commercial break. Madonna suplexes Lee off the top rope, laying out both men. Madonna and Lee trade punches and chops Lee into a snap release German suplex, and then slams Madonna down with the poison rod. Madonna hits a standing Spanish fly and covers Lee for a near fall. Lee punches Madonna, and they both counter power bombs until Lee hits a set out power bomb. Madonna covers for a 2 count. Lee climbs the ropes, and Madonna is tangled up the ropes, and Lee hits a double stomp off the top rope and covers Madonna, who gets his leg on the ropes. Dominic Mysterio runs down to get involved in the match, and AJ Styles runs out and takes care of Mysterio. Lee hits Operation Dragon and pins Madonna. So winner is Dragon Lee. Then Jenny Raymond talks to Layla Knight about CM Punk and stuff. Then after that, video patch for RZA plays, calls out Sheamus and stuff. So yeah, they have a match at Clash Champions and stuff. So yeah, and then around that, Roxanne Perez and Rodriguez are backstage. There was a Judgment Day. Also, they argue about AJ Styles. Then after that, we get the second match: Penta versus Kofi Kingston with Xavier Woods and Grayson Waller. Penta and Kingston lock up, and Kingston gets chopped like mad in the corner. Kingston is taken down with a head scissors, and then Penta clotheslines Kingston. Kingston rolls out of the ring, causing a break. Kingston now punches Penta and slams him into the corner. Kingston comes out the top rope and lands on Penta and covers him for a 2 count. Kingston punches out Penta and kicks him down to the mat. Kingston is knocked outside the ring over the ropes, and Kingston runs away before Penta can fly over the ropes onto him. Yeah, there we go, commercial break, and then um, stupid fucking thing. Anyways, then we go back to Raw, and Kingston has Penta in a headlock in the middle of the ring. Kingston readjusts to a chin lock, and Penta punches his way out of the hole. Penta kicks Kingston as a sling blade on Kingston. Kingston is kicked in the corner, and then Penta hits Kingston with a handstand kick and covers Kingston for a near fall. Kingston knocks down Penta and kicks Penta in the face. Kingston has the boom drop on Penta. Penta kicks Kingston, countering Trouble in Paradise, then hits a backstabber and covers Kingston for a 2. Kingston hits a Fame Aster and gets a 2 count. Penta and Kingston fall off the top turnbuckle, and Penta hits a suplex, and then the Penta driver, and Kingston kicks out. Penta kicks Waller in the face, and then flips over the ropes onto Woods, and Kingston back in the ring. Kingston hits Trouble in Paradise and gets the win. So winner is Kofi Kingston. Then we see the follow damage control with Asuka getting pissed off and stuff. Then we see Rhea Ripley talking to Io Sky. Then you see in the background is Kairi Sane and Asuka, or they're like family stuff. They're upset, all that. So, yeah. Anyways, then we get a recap of Naomi being pregnant to vacate your title. Then see just sitting back here is upset about because her match got postponed because Naomi is pregnant. Then after that we have a segment and stuff with Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella. Becky Lynch makes her way out to the ring. Lynch talks about how she had her WWE trial 3 years ago in Birmingham and it was a dump. Then it's still now one now. She then talks about Nikki Bella wanting to call her out. She and says she isn't a dog who's still obliged. Nikki Bella comes out and asks Lynch if it's not a dog, then why she's being a bitch. Lynch tells Bella she calls the shots and not Bella, and she doesn't just give out title shots. Bella takes credit for changing the women's division and talks about being a trailblazer. Lynch says she doesn't care about Lynch, isn't here to respect Bella, but she's here to replace Bella. Bella calls Lynch Charlotte Flair's sidekick. Lynch tells Bella she's not a psychic and that her theme song even says she isn't. Bella says Lynch is desperate and gets Birmingham to agree with her. Bella asks Lynch if the man has lost her balls, and then says Lynch has no class and says that she's a coward. Lynch agrees to give. Well, by the way, she said your C word, and she thought it meant something else, but I can't say. But and she said yeah, so. Lynch agrees to give Bella her match in Paris, and not Birmingham. Bella tells Lynch she'll be champion after Paris. Lynch tries to attack Bella, who kicks down Lynch. The two start fighting, and Lynch rolls out of the ring as Bella poses with Lynch's belt. Then Jackie Raven talks to CM Punk about what LA Knight says and stuff. Oh yeah, and Becky Lynch talked about Ozzy Osbourne and stuff, which is fucked up and stuff, and hated it. And so I have a feeling the writers in the back are gonna get in trouble, but WWE might get in trouble about it. So anyways, third match coming up: Rhea Ripley versus Roxanne Perez. Raquel Rodriguez. Perez attacks Ripley with a slap and then jumps onto Ripley's back. Perez kicks Ripley, then starts punching her in the corner. Ripley drop kicks Perez and punches her in the corner. Perez rolls out of the ring and Ripley goes out after her. Perez slams Ripley into the apron and then slams Ripley's head into the ring. Perez is punched and sent back in the ring. Ripley throws Perez to the mat, then sets up for Riptide. But Perez counters and goes back outside the ring. Ripley catches Perez, and then Rodriguez stands in the way, but but Ripley punches Perez and sends her back in the ring. Press flies out onto Ripley and back in the ring. Press attacks Ripley's leg. Press gets slammed into the ring post, but both women now fight on the apron. Press kicks Ripley down and hits a forearm to the back of Ripley's neck, and Press hits a springboard moonsault and covers Ripley for a 2 count. And we then cut commercial break and stuff, and then we back to Raw with this stupid thing, and so yeah. Anyways, back to Raw. Press has a DDT on Ripley and goes for a moonsault, but Ripley hits her knees up. Ripley clotheslines Perez several times and kicks her. Ripley goes to hit a razor's edge and on Perez, but Rodriguez holds onto Perez's leg. Perez hits a hurricanrana and knees Ripley on the back and covers for a 2 count. Perez slaps Ripley and delivers a series of kicks. Ripley headbutts Perez and hits a razor's edge and kicks and cover Perez for near front. Ripley kicks Perez as Perez moves out of the way. As Ripley gets back in the ring, she's drop kicked Perez and goes for a pop rocks and misses. Ripley hits Riptide and gets the win. So winner is Roxanne Perez. After the match, Ripley is attacked by Rodriguez. Perez joins in, and Ripley is now getting beaten by both women. Io Sky runs out to save Ripley. Sky takes out both Perez and Rodriguez. Sky is sent out of the ring, and she comes back and drop kicks Perez. Ripley and Sky celebrating the ring. Then Bronson Reed, Paul Heyman, and Seth Rollins are backstage and stuff, talking about what's going to happen tonight. Then Ripley tends to her injuries, and then talk to Io Sky. Then Asuka and Kairi Sane are pissed off and stuff. So yeah. Anyways, next match coming up: AJ Styles versus Finn Balor. We get the bell, and Balor kicks down Styles. It then follows that up with a clothesline. Balor tosses Styles out of the ring. Styles gets back in the ring and starts punching Balor. Balor kicks Styles, and Styles drop kicks Balor and tosses him out of the ring. Styles flies over the ropes and forearms Balor in the face. Styles chops Balor and throws him back in the ring. Balor chops Styles in the corner, and Styles chops Balor back. Styles has a forearm and goes for the phenomenal forearm, but it's knocked off the ropes. Balor kicks Styles off the apron, and then we cut commercial break. And then we come back commercial break, and Styles slams Balor down. Balor and Styles counter and counter a bunch of moves, and Styles has a pell kick and sliding forearm. Styles slams down Balor and covers for a 2 count. Balor is set up for the Styles clash, but he counters it. Styles misses a forearm, and Balor hits him with a sling blade. Balor drop kicks Styles in the turnbuckles, and Balor misses a coup de grace. Styles and Balor trade roll-ups, and Styles connects with the Styles clash and gets the win. So winner is AJ Styles. Jay Usos talk to one backstage about LA Knight and CM Punk and stuff. Then we get a video package with Bayley losing her mind. Then Lara Valkyria talks backstage. China Pierce talk about what's going on and stuff. Then after that, Judgment Day comes out. Then and Pierce talks to JD doing all them, and then tells Dominic Mysterio that he has a match with AJ Styles. And then it's for the Intercontinental Championship belt. Then after that, we have Braun Breaker walks backstage with Bronson Reed and Paul Heyman. Roman Reigns jumps into the screen and beats up Reigns and brings up Breaker and Reed. Reigns is escorted out. LA Knight comes out of nowhere and starts fighting with Breaker. The two fight backstage, and the fight spills out into the entryway. Breaker is thrown into the Jumbotron, and the men fight through the crowd. Knight slams a Breaker into the barricades, and they now fight down the ring near the ring. Then we get commercial break and stuff. And then back to Raw. Knight slams into Breaker's into the announce desk, and then throws Breaker over the desk. Knight jumps off the announce desk and clotheslines Breaker. Breaker's tossed in the ring, and the bell rings. Alright, fifth main event coming out: LA Knight versus Braun Breaker and Paul Heyman. Knight boots Breaker in the corner. Knight runs at Breaker and hits a hip attack against the turnbuckles. Knight hits a neck breaker and covers for a 1 count. Breaker is kicked in the face, and then Breaker's head is slammed into the turnbuckle. Breaker slams into Knight and in the corner and starts with punches on Knight. Breaker hits a running clothesline, and it lays Knight out. Breaker kicks and stomps Breaker, and then chokes him out on the ropes. Breaker suplexes Knight, and Knight comes back with the jabs to Breaker. Breaker is taken down and then knocked out of the ring. Knight kicks Breaker through the ropes and meet him outside the ring. Breaker trips Knight into the announce desk and rams him into the apron. Then and to still stats, we cut commercial break. And then we're back from commercial break. And Breaker has Knight on the mat in a headlock. Breaker slams Knight into the corner, and then reverses a neck breaker, sending Breaker and crashing into the mat. Breaker and Knight are on the top row, and Breaker hits a Frankenstein on Knight. Breaker covers Knight, who kicks out at 2. Knight kicks Breaker and hits a DDT on Breaker. Knight and Breaker trade blows, and Knight takes on Breaker with a neck breaker. Knight slams down Breaker with a reverse DDT. Knight misses a top row elbow, and Breaker takes down Knight with a clothesline. Breaker goes for a spear, but is kicked instead, and Knight covers Breaker for a 2 count. Knight and Breaker are on the top turnbuckles, and Knight is knocked down. Who runs back up and hits a suplex on Breaker. Knight hits his elbow off the top rope, and Seth Rollins' music hits, and he runs down to the ring and gets on the apron. Knight goes to punch Rollins, but Rollins goes on the run. Knight chases after him, and gets separated by Breaker. Back in the ring, Knight is speared and covered for the win. So winner is Braun Breaker. After the match, Rollins and Breaker beat down Knight. Jey Uso runs out to make the save. Uso yeet punches Rollins and then super kicks him. Uso does the same for Breaker, but Rollins comes from behind and pedigrees him. So CM Punk's music hits, and he comes out to help out Uso and Knight. Breaker meets Punk in the aisle, and Punk beats down Breaker and gets on the apron and stares down Rollins. Rollins and Punk start exchanging blows. Breaker gets Rollins and gets him out of the ring, saving him from a beatdown by Punk. Punk and Knight get into each other's faces and start punching each other. Punk and Knight start fighting, and Knight is shoved into Uso. Uso super kicks Knight, and then super kicks Punk. Uso stands in the ring and celebrates as the show goes on there. So yeah, it was a good show earlier today and stuff. I enjoyed it, very good. So I'm sorry I didn't get to do it way earlier in the afternoon and stuff. So my bad. So anyways, but where I don't care what you guys say. But anyways, good show earlier today. So yeah, good. So anyways, that was this first video. Hope you like it. Not where so like, subscribe, hit that button, leave a comment. Hey guys, want to leave a comment stuff? I encourage you guys to. Now that's it. I see you guys Wednesday night for AEW Dynamite. Alright, laters.